Among the many legends of Middle-earth, few figures stand as tall as Gandalf the Grey, later known as Gandalf the White. To many, he is the wise and kind-hearted wizard who guides heroes and kings, a mentor to Frodo Baggins and the Fellowship of the Ring. But Gandalf is much more than just a wizard. He is a divine guardian, a being of celestial origins sent by the Valar to watch over Middle-earth in its darkest times. His presence spans centuries. His wisdom is unparalleled, and his power, though often hidden, is among the greatest ever seen in Middle-earth. He is not an ordinary man, nor is he an elf or a mere sorcerer. His true nature is far beyond what most in Middle-earth could ever comprehend. Today, we unravel the true origins of Gandalf, exploring where he came from, his purpose, and the role he played in the eternal battle between light and darkness. The divine origins Gandalf as a Maya of the Undying Lands. To understand who Gandalf truly is, we must go far beyond Middle-earth and look to Aman, the realm of the gods, the Undying Lands where the Valar rule. Gandalf is not human. He is not even of mortal descent. He is, in fact, a Maya, a divine spirit created before the world itself came into being. The Maya are lesser Ainur, celestial beings who serve the Valar, the mighty guardians appointed by Eru Ilúvatar, the supreme creator of the universe. Among the Maiar, there were many who took different roles and became servants of the Valar. Others became spirits of nature, and a few, like Sauron, fell into darkness. Olorin, the true name of Gandalf in his true form. Before coming to Middle-earth, Gandalf was known as Olorin. He was a Maya of Manwë, the king of the Valar, and Varda, the queen of the stars. But he also had a deep connection to Nienna, the Valar of grief and wisdom. Olorin dwelled in the gardens of Lorien, where he learned compassion, patience, and the understanding of suffering. Unlike other Maiar who sought power, Olorin was drawn to the beauty of wisdom and the strength found in humility. He often wandered unseen among the elves in Valinor, learning from them, guiding them subtly, and inspiring hope where there was sorrow. Even in his celestial form, he was already playing the role he would later fulfill in Middle-earth, that of a mentor, a guide, and a bringer of light. But Olorin's greatest test had yet to come. The Istari, the wizards sent to save Middle-earth as the Third Age dawned in Middle-earth. The Valar foresaw a growing darkness, the return of Sauron, the former lieutenant of Morgoth. Though Morgoth had been defeated and cast into the void, his greatest servant still lived, plotting in the shadows to reclaim his master's throne. The Valar, however, had taken a vow not to directly intervene in the affairs of Middle-earth again. Instead, they chose 5 Maiar and sent them in the form of Istari, or wizards. These 5 divine beings were to guide, not rule, to inspire, not dominate. The 5 Istari were Curanir Saruman the White, the most powerful, and the leader of the Order. Olorin Gandalf the Grey, the wisest and most compassionate. Ivandir Radagast the Brown, a lover of nature and animals. Alatar and Palander, the blue wizards, mysterious figures who journeyed into the east. Each of them took on the form of an old man, deliberately limiting their power so they would not dominate the free peoples, but instead guide them toward their own salvation. Why was Gandalf chosen? Despite Saruman's appointment as leader of the Order, it was Gandalf whom Manwë trusted the most. He was hesitant to take on the mission, feeling that he was not strong enough. But Manwë knew that Gandalf's greatest strength was his humility, and he sent him forth as the true light in the coming darkness. Upon arriving in Middle-earth, Olorin took the name Gandalf, which means Elf of the Wand in the language of men. From the very beginning, his purpose was clear: to counter the rising darkness of Sauron, to guide the free peoples, and to ensure that hope would never fade. The power of Gandalf, more than just a wizard. Though he appeared as an old man, Gandalf was far more powerful than he let others believe. His abilities went beyond simple magie, wielded divine power, though he used it sparingly. The Keeper of Narya, the Ring of Fire, one of Gandalf's greatest sources of power, was Narya, the Ring of Fire, given to him by Círdan the Shipwright. This ring was one of the 3 elven rings of power. Unlike the One Ring, it was not corrupted but was created to aid and inspire. Narya granted Gandalf the ability to ignite hope in others, strengthen the spirits of those who fought against Sauron, and resist the despair that the Dark Lord spread. This is why, even in the darkest moments, Gandalf's presence always rekindled courage in the hearts of men, elves, and hobbits alike. 2. A master of combat and magic, though he rarely sought battle, Gandalf was a formidable warrior. His sword, Glamdring, had once belonged to the ancient king of Gondolin, and in his hands it became a weapon feared by the servants of darkness. Gandalf was also a master of fire and light, often using these elements to drive away evil. He summoned flames to battle the Balrog, wielded beams of light against the Nazgul, and could shatter enemies with his mere voice. 3. His true strength, wisdom, and influence more than his magic or combat prowess. Gandalf's greatest power lay in his wisdom and ability to influence others. He was the catalyst for many of the greatest events in Middle-earth. He guided Thorin Oakenshield and Bilbo Baggins on their quest, setting in motion the events that would lead to Smaug's death. He counseled Aragorn, preparing him for kingship. He brought together the Fellowship of the Ring, ensuring the One Ring's destruction. Unlike Saruman, who sought power for himself, Gandalf understood that victory comes not from dominance, but from inspiring others to do what is right. Gandalf the White, his true form, revealed Gandalf's greatest transformation, occurred when he fell in battle against the Balrog of Moria. He died, but he was sent back, reborn as Gandalf the White, his true divine form, now fully realized. This transformation marked his ascension to the true leader of the Astari, replacing Saruman, who had fallen into corruption. As Gandalf the White, he became a radiant force of divine will, directly opposing Sauron with all his might. Conclusion: the eternal light of Gandalf. Gandalf was more than a wizard. He was a celestial being, a divine guardian, and a bringer of hope. Sent by the gods, limited in form but limitless in wisdom, he played a role in ensuring that Middle-earth survived the greatest evil it had ever faced. His journey was one of humility, sacrifice, and wisdom, proving that true power lies not in strength, but in inspiring others to find the strength within themselves. And so when he finally left Middle-earth for Valinor, he did so knowing his mission was complete. The darkness had been defeated, and the world was left in the hands of those he had guided. A light had been kindled, and it would never be extinguished. As the ages of Middle-earth passed, many great heroes and rulers rose and fell, their deeds becoming legend, their names etched into history. Yet among all these figures, Gandalf stands apart. He was not a king, nor was he a conqueror. He never sought power, nor did he claim a throne. And yet, his presence shaped the very fabric of Middle-earth, ensuring that light prevailed over darkness in its most perilous hour. Gandalf was more than just a wizard. He was a divine guardian, a guide, and a bringer of hope. From the moment he set foot in Middle-earth, his purpose was clear: to oppose the darkness of Sauron, unite the free peoples, and inspire them to stand against evil, not through force, but through courage and wisdom. But what ultimately was his true impact? What was the real significance of Gandalf in the history of Middle-earth? Let us reflect on the true depth of his legacy and how his actions shaped the world. Gandalf's role in the fate of Middle-earth. Though he walked in the form of an old man, Gandalf was a celestial being of immense wisdom and power, sent by the Valar to watch over Middle-earth. Unlike Saruman, who sought dominance, Gandalf understood that his mission was not to rule, but to guide others toward their own greatness. The one who united the free peoples. Before Gandalf's intervention, the free peoples of Middle-earth were divided, suspicious of one another, and hesitant to act against the looming shadow of Sauron. Gondor and Rohan were estranged. Elves and dwarves held centuries of resentment, and men, elves, and dwarves alike underestimated the role of the hobbits. It was Gandalf who changed this. He convinced the dwarves of Erebor to reclaim their homeland, ensuring that Smaug could not be used as a weapon by Sauron. He advised Aragorn, preparing him to become the king of Gondor. He encouraged Theoden, restoring his spirit and rallying Rohan against the forces of Mordor. He forged the Fellowship of the Ring, bringing together elves, dwarves, men, and hobbits in a single quest. Without Gandalf's influence, the Free Peoples would have never been united, and Sauron's dominion would have been inevitable. To Mordor, the keeper of hope in the darkest hour. Gandalf's greatest power was not his magic or his sword, but his ability to inspire hope. At every turn when despair threatened to consume Middle-earth, Gandalf was the light in the darkness when Frodo doubted his path. Gandalf reminded him that even the smallest of people could change the course of the future. When Theoden was on the brink of defeat, Gandalf arrived at Helm's Deep, rallying the Rohirrim to victory. When Denethor lost all faith in Gondor, Gandalf took command of Minas Tirith, leading the city through its greatest battle. His presence alone rekindled courage in the hearts of men, elves, and hobbits alike. Even against overwhelming odds, when all seemed lost, Gandalf never wavered. The enemy of Sauron and the fall of Saruman. Gandalf was Sauron's greatest unseen enemy. Unlike armies or warriors, Gandalf did not seek to defeat Sauron through direct battle. He understood that the Dark Lord's greatest weakness was his inability to comprehend the power of selflessness and unity. He ensured that the One Ring fell into the hands of those who would destroy it, rather than those who would seek to wield it. He dismantled Saruman's influence, exposing his treachery and stripping him of his power. He led the final battle at the Black Gate, ensuring that Sauron's gaze remained fixed on Aragorn, giving Frodo the chance to complete his mission. In the end, Sauron's fall was not achieved through strength or war, but through the wisdom and patience of Gandalf, who orchestrated a plan far beyond what even the Dark Lord could perceive. Gandalf's ascension from the Grey Pilgrim to the White Wizard, one of the most defining moments in Gandalf's journey, was his transformation into Gandalf the White. His battle with the Balrog of Moria was not just a physical fight, it was a spiritual trial, a test that forced him to sacrifice himself for the greater good. He perished in the depths of Khazad-dûm, but he was sent back by the Valar, resurrected as a being of pure light and wisdom. This rebirth signified his ascension to his true role as the leader of the Istari, the one who would replace Saruman as the true guardian of Middle-earth. As Gandalf the White, his power was fully unleashed, and his mission reached its final stage. The departure of Gandalf, the end of an age with Sauron's fall, and the destruction of the One Ring. Gandalf's mission was complete. The Fourth Age belonged to men, and the time of the elves and the Istari had ended. His final act was departing for the Undying Lands, leaving Middle-earth forever. But unlike Saruman, who was cast out in disgrace, Gandalf left knowing that his purpose had been fulfilled. He had not conquered, he had not ruled, but he had guided Middle-earth to his salvation. The eternal legacy of Gandalf. 1. A symbol of wisdom and patience, Gandalf proved that true power does not come from dominance, but from understanding. He never imposed his will upon others, but instead, he inspired them to find their own strength. 2. The champion of free will. Unlike Sauron, who sought to control Middle-earth, Gandalf believed in free will. He gave Frodo the choice to bear the ring. He guided Aragorn but never forced him to claim his throne. He allowed the Free Peoples to decide their own fate, and that was the key to their victory.